So we can only demand reasonably the items that we know 100% are damaged and are what's going to need to be paid for. We can address it as being a detach and reset, and you can even put a little note in there. I believe this son of a bitch is going to break, but it hasn't, so we have it in for detach and reset now. Come on in. Come on down. Hello, Mr. Osteen.
Yes.
How are you doing?
Doing great.
Is it Mrs. Osteen?
Yes.
Fantastic.
Hi,
Congratulations
nice to meet
on
you.
that deal. Hello, young man. How are you doing? Good to see you. Questions?
Questions, comments, concerns?
So when can you open up those other coverages? I know you mentioned.
I do additional coverages. Yeah, the guys do dwelling and other structure. I do additional coverages. If it's flood, you have to do it immediately. When you submit the dwelling and the estimate, you have to submit all additional coverages as well. But you open up additional coverages immediately. That's how you start getting the money coming, because they'll argue on the dwelling and other structure, but you can get loss of use, loss of rents, personal property, mortgage protection. You can get all of those immediately paid.
You want to get money flowing as soon as you can.
Yeah.
All of it.
You can't estimate for if you don't know the cost at that point.
For what?
Additional coverages it's not a cost.
If you have the SPOL
Yeah,
down,
you
you should
can.
know the.
You
yeah.
go and you get the valuation, you tell the insured to get their lease, let me get it approved by the carrier. Once the carrier approves it, you submit it for 6 months, they're gonna kick it back and give you 3. Every single time.
And then supplement the rest, right?
Yeah, but I'd rather visit it every 75, 80 days rather than every 20, 25. So I'm gonna push it out for 6 months, and then we're gonna kick it back, and they're gonna do 3 months, but additional living every single time. Loss of rents, you get the leases, you get all of the tax records, you get all of that stuff, you start generating that money.
So you're gonna put that all in your initial.
Yeah, but if you submit, no matter which one you submit, you have to let the carrier know that you will be visiting those coverages.
Same with an.
Think of it as a
engineer.
flow chart.
Same as an engineer report. I mean, we haven't hired an engineer yet, but we know.
You as a public adjuster,
We need one,
you as a public adjuster,
correct.
you should not be bringing an engineer.
Well, I thought we'd have to pay for that.
Exactly, why are you gonna waste that overhead?
Or you're gonna end up transferring it over to the deal. If an
Yeah.
engineer needs to be done, let them bring the engineer.
Tell
You
them.
beat the shit out of the engineer. That way, when he gets it, he's gonna have to hire another engineer.
Yep.
So the insured would effectively be paying for your engineer
That they're not gonna
that
honor.
nobody's going to mess with, and if
Nope.
it goes to litigation, which it is, that's why you've got the engineer involved, then when it goes to litigation, then the attorney, no matter who it is gonna have to bring another engineer who is going to be expected to pay for each one of these engineers.
So you should absolutely go through and tear apart any engineer report they produce,
Yes.
right? As a critique and a response. Is hiring an engineer going to move the needle one way or the other? Is the insurance company going to come out and say, you know what? We like your engineer, we don't like our engineer now. Your guy's smarter than our engineer is. No.
Now, there's instances I think that you may be getting to now where you may have a mutual
Right.
benefit, and we have one that I'm gonna leave and go see tomorrow where we've done our estimate, but I've also have a $2,500 charge in there beforehand to bring that engineer to verify what we've done.
So if you're dealing with structural issues,
Yes.
right, there may be a time and place to bring an engineer in. If you're bringing an engineer in, just as an arms race, they have an engineer, let me get an engineer, don't do that.
No, you should submit your SPOL, and when you submit it, let them know, hey, we need an engineer. Well, why do we need an engineer? Structure might be compromised. They deny it at that time. What you're gonna get is, once you get off that job site, the desk is gonna come back and say, oh, we need an engineer.
But do I do say I have foundation damage, and I know we're gonna, do I go ahead and estimate for that damage?
Yes, and put them on notice and
Hold on,
say,
lady.
bring your people.
Say the rest of it.
Do I go ahead and estimate for the damage myself?
What I would say is that if I look at the foundation and the foundation is damaged, and the ideal is that to get to the foundation, what's gonna have to happen? I don't need an engineer for that. Yeah, the foundation's damaged, right? Huh?
The foundation's